This is Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show at 910 KINA Salina, bringing you innovative talk radio that surprises, entertains, and sometimes informs you. Today we have a pretty exciting show for you because we have 4 different guests. They're all employed here at KINA Radio, so you're going to recognize a lot of these radio voices. And I sent them out from the Joan Jerkovich Show as my secret Santas with $50 bills, and they were to give them out to someone they found randomly that was a needy person here in Salina, and they're back here to tell us their story. And of course, the first person we had to give, because we know his generous heart and his generous spirit, we had to let do this, is Mr. Jerry Henriquez. Welcome, Jerry.
Yeah, welcome to you. Thank you very much. I'm kind of excited, and believe it or not, actually kind of nervous, because now I'm on the other side of the fence here being interviewed. So, and when you said a pretty exciting show, this is an exciting show.
Absolutely. So, especially when you tell us your big story, because you know there were some wagers going out in the office whether you were going to keep this or not for yourself.
Well, I gave it away. And I have to tell you.
And you have to first tell me, though, that you please gave this to a liberal Democrat.
Well, I don't know. That's the whole issue. And that's, believe it or not, brings right up to the very beginning of the thing. It is really hard to judge a book by its cover. And I really had a tough time going around trying to, you know, I would look at someone and I would say, boy, they look like they need the money. But then I'd say to myself, they're a little bit older, could be like my aunt. I mean, she looks like she doesn't have a dime to her name, and she has just got more money than Carter's has pills, and I could have given a $50 bill to someone that didn't need the money.
To a multimillionaire.
Absolutely. So it's not the easiest thing just going out and trying to walk up to somebody and say, yeah, I'm the Secret Santa from the Joan Jerkovich Show, and I would like to give you $50 in the spirit of the holidays, and you don't know if they're rich or poor or not. So, you know, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but it's tougher than you think.
Because that's what I'm hearing with some of the stories that we've been talking around here at the station is, you know, you had about, you know, a week to 10 days to kind of go out and look for someone to give it to. And it's just exactly that discernment. You know, you can't judge just by looking at someone whether they're needy or not.
Well, you go to grocery stores and you see a little old lady and you think, okay, she's probably on Social Security, she's probably struggling. Boy, $50 would help her maybe with some medicine or who knows what. But then again, you don't know that. And I think that's, and here's a sales pitch, but that's why you have agencies that sometimes go through the process to find out who really deserves the money too.
But then again, you know, that can't be such a bad thing that, you know, you could give this to the person that maybe doesn't personally need it, but we all love a gift. We all love, you know, love that feeling of, you know, someone appreciating us. Maybe that very person, even if they didn't choose to keep it for themselves, would pay it forward.
That's true. I come from the school, though, I really would like to give it to somebody in my heart that really, really, really needs it. So that moved to the next phase. I finally gave it to a young couple walking into the store with their baby in a little stroller. Now, normally if you see someone that is 20, 23 years old with their wife and they have a little baby in a stroller, and here again, I gotta be careful, but it's a fact of life. You judge a book by the cover. You saw that it looked like it was a working man. I mean, someone that had grease on the blue jeans, and I mean, they were a hard blue collar trying to make ends meet. I walked up to them. I said, have you ever heard of the Joan Jerkovich Show? No. Have you ever heard of KINA? No. Well, I should have known better because they're young, they're a different demographic. I said, have you ever heard of the Secret Santa Claus? And they go, yeah. And they stopped and paused a little bit. They all of a sudden go, I'm Jerry Henriquez. I've been asked by Joan Jerkovich to give out a $50 bill. And I want to let you know, as a Secret Santa Claus, I'm going to give you this $50 bill, and I'm going to ask you to spend it on your little one.
Oh.
And you ought to have seen the look on the mother's face. And you ought to have seen the look on the dad's face, because he was somewhat surprised, like, okay, what are you trying to sell me?
There's a catch. There's a catch.
There's a little nervousness.
You didn't have your homeless outfit on, I hope.
No, I did not.
Bigger. Yeah.
Now, and I'm going to keep going back to this judging a book by its cover. Unfortunately, the young girl did not have all her teeth.
Oh.
And it wasn't a meth-related issue. There are people out there, right?
You're experienced in knowing what a meth mouth looks like.
Pretty much so, yes. Okay. Yes. I try to study that issue. There are some people that actually
I know you're very well versed.
Actually cannot afford to go to a dentist. I mean, if you started putting caps and having your mouth worked on, we could be talking $5,000, $6,000, $7,000. And young couples are trying to put food on the table. They're trying to make ends meet. And all of a sudden going to the dentist. So I'm not beating up dentists, but I'm just saying.
Oh, not at all. It's just an expense for families.
And here I go. I go back to my judging the book by a cover. I felt good about giving the money to these folks. But I think that's an issue. And I think that's people listening to this right now, they're going to walk around and say, yeah, giving money's away, that'd be easy. Well, if you only have that $50 bill, who are you going to give it to? Who's really going to be deserving? Who really needs it? And you don't know because you don't get to ask them, well, what is your financial plight? Are you broke? Are you having troubles making ends meet? Now, I have to tell you, there is a chemical reaction. When I gave that $50 bill to him, I don't know what happened, but I felt a shot go through my spine. I felt the hair on my arms and my back raise. Something chemically in my body made me feel very, very good about that.
Have you felt that feeling before?
Yes.
Not very often.
Not very often. But I have felt that feeling before.
See, I gotta give you a hard time, Jerry.
Yes.
You're not giving enough.
I'm not giving enough.
A man of your prestige and position in this community, and that's not true. Because I do know that you do.
Now let me say
but
this.
But this was a unique way for you to give.
There's two different ways of giving. One is to write a check and wash your hands like Pontius Pilate and say, oh, here you go, United Way, you take care of it.
Right.
Or here, church, here's the check. You don't have the personal satisfaction of actually seeing and handing the money versus different ways of giving. So the secret Santa Claus way of it is you actually get to see the person, you get to see the smile on their face, you almost get to look at like a little tear comes out of their eyes, and that creates some endorphins or some type of a chemical reaction, because I'm telling you, I had a shot where my arms and my back, and then when I was walking out, I really, really felt good about it.
Right, right.
I mean, it was a good feeling on my part that I was able to do this. Now, I have to take you to the next level of this whole situation, though. Have you ever heard of opium?
Well, I think so.
I mean, I'm talking the government
recreational
opium.
or professional legal?
Government opium.
Okay. Government opium.
Other people's money. I was using Joan Jerkovich's $50 to hand out. I felt very good about that.
Did you feel like the government?
I did a little bit because,
the IRS.
Know what? And I, not wanting to be a hypocrite, you know, I'm telling you, I felt good. It was a great feeling. But it wasn't Jerry Henriquez's $50 bill. It wasn't coming out of my pocket. And I'm thinking to myself, now, I wonder if I would feel better if I actually went and got $50 and maybe got 10 of them and walked around and tried to give it to people. And not again writing a check to a United Way, which I highly endorse, or giving money to the Ashby House, but that's a almost kind of a sterile way of giving. But
it's more hands-off.
Yeah, it's hands-off. You give the money, okay, hey, you know, I've done my duty, but now I can go home and, you know, watch The Simpsons or whatever, you know, great educational program that I might be getting into, you know, The Family Guy. This is now
quality
making...
programming.
Yes, this is challenging me a little bit, and I hope it's challenging our listeners a little bit, is, hey, what about your own personal money? What about, you know, not other people's money, but you going down to your savings, going to your, getting some money out of a CD or whatever, and you personally going out and not turning it over to somebody else, but actually doing it yourself. I have to compliment you. That was a fun thing to do, but it also opens up the eyes of you can't just be a void of this. You can't just be away from it. You actually, I know some people in town here that when we first started the Ashby House that are very, very, very rich. Not only did they give their money, but they actually got involved in helping fix the cupboards and paint the walls and got physically involved in this. And this kind of forced me to do it by going out, handing out the $50 bill, feeling very good about it, but challenging myself a little bit. Now, wait a minute. That was a Joan Jerkovich $50 giveaway. That wasn't a Jerry Henriquez $50 giveaway. So anyway, that's kind of my story, and I had three elements to it. One is it's hard to judge a book by its cover. You do not know who you're giving the money to. And then I guess that's a plug for the different agencies in town that we have here that help us do that. The second thing I had was the emotional feeling that I received from it. It really feels good to help people. It's an unbelievable feeling. And then the third one is, though, is again, your own personal money. I think we have to get out as a society right now during these tough time periods and give, and really give from the heart. So.
Well, and just what you've even pointed out here, when you give, it gives so much back to you. You know, if you want that little endorphin high even, you know, which is interesting. I'm going to see if my other guests that were Secret Santas talk about that high. But certainly the feeling of giving is so important.
Well, you know, some of the people in the medical field, you might ask the business, you might ask them, is there a chemical reaction that triggers something that makes people feel good?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm sure it's biochemical. I'm sure it's biochemical. And I don't know if you actually were aware of this, and I do want our guests to know that, to my understanding, and they can check with their tax accountant, you can actually consider $200 worth of donation, cash donations, can go against your tax return. So when I had 4 people going out at $50 each, you know, I can still declare that as, you know, just as I would a donation to a nonprofit.
And I, being a good conservative, like the fact that you can use it as a donation. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah.
I had to get my one last plug in there. But
so were they Democratic or liberal?
I have no idea.
Were they even voters?
When people are in need, I don't care if they're conservative or liberal or Republican or Democrat. But it is opium, other people's money. I am going to have to go back and say, you know what?
Let's all get addicted.
I need to, yes, let's use our own money on that. So thank you very much for allowing me to do that. You bet. And I want all of you to stay tuned because we're just going to take a short break and we'll be back with Joan on the Joan Jerkovich Show. And be sure to go to my website, joanjerkovich.com, for the video outtakes, podcasting, and a link to the iTunes, where you're listening to the Joan Jerkovich Show on 910 KINA Salina. We're back, and thanks for listening to Joan with the Joan Jerkovich Show. We're back with our second Secret Santa. We're here with Lonnie Smith, you know as Rick Raines, and you're going to recognize this voice for sure. So tell us, Lonnie, who was your Secret Santa?
Do I have to tell you right now?
No, you can tell me whatever you want.
Let's talk just a little bit.
Okay.
Before we go into that.
Well,
I want to thank you for asking me to do this.
Well, I hope so, because, you know, I sent all these people out with, you know, the $50, 4 people from the station here. They were supposed to just go find somebody on the street or however that they felt was needy. So, was that a good concept?
You know what? I enjoyed it. It was humbling. It was fun. When you gave me the money and asked me to play a Secret Santa, well, I went looking. And doing what I do, not just the you know, on the air here at 99 KG and Eagle Communications, there's a selling side of what I do. So marketing side. So I'm out there seeing clients. I'm up and down the streets every day, and I'm just waiting for an opportunity to present itself.
Because you had about 10 days to do that.
I did.
You kind of gave yourself a little time to think about it, or kind of, you know, scout somebody. Maybe stalk somebody a little bit and see if they were officially needy.
It's not very often that I have a $50 bill in my shirt pocket.
I know.
You know, so.
And did you have a little bit of trouble not spending that on yourself a little bit?
I did not, because I knew it was for someone else.
Because there were a couple others that I gave money to here, especially that Jerry Henriquez I had a little concern about.
No, I was actively looking, and I really, 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 in my heart, I wanted to give it to someone that I really felt needed it. And the opportunity, this went on for about 3 or 4 days. The opportunity didn't present itself until I got together with some of my friends. I'm an active member of my church, and some of the men from the church, we like to get together once a week and just talk, you know, about men issues, marriage, gosh, just personal lives, spirituality, just a lot of different conversations.
How many guys are in your group?
About 5.
About 5.
About 5. And one of the members of our men's group is the pastor of my church. And I let him know what my situation was. I was telling him what I was trying to accomplish this week, and he thought that was just a really, really nice thing to do.